Yes. Okay. So we had learned about the packaging of DNA, and we had started with the basic and that of the prokaryotic cell. But before going into that, we had learned that the DNA is having a negatively charged overall negative charge, and that is because of the phosphoric acid group or H3PO4 group, phosphate moiety that is we are having. And because of that, the positively charged protein, see, any protein that is positively charged can associate with this negatively charged DNA. Now, I hope you remember the basic structure of the amino acids. Anybody can remind me that? Basic structure of amino acids, right? We had carbon in the center, and then we had hydrogen, that is CH, and one end on the right side we had C.
R group.
Yes, CO minus or COH, you can say. That is one carboxyl group, one R group, and one amino group, right? So we can write N
NH2.
plus or NH2. You can write any one of that. So now anyway, this is a deuterionic form that I'm writing. You're right. So more importantly, we are going to have a R group, and this R group can be a simple hydrogen, or it can be aliphatic chain or aromatic structure. Now this R group is always replaced, and based on this R group or the functional group that we are having in the R group here, the property of the amino acid is going to be dependent or decided. So if you are going to have a basic, right, you are going to have a charge structure here. The R group is a charge structure. For example, you are going to have something like uh, lysine or arginine, right? Now these are going to have a overall positive charge on the protein. So if your protein is made up of they're rich in lysine or arginine, they will turn out to be a positively charged protein. Now, again, going back to this particular part, you have to understand that we are going to have in prokaryotic cell, there is, of course, there is no nucleus in there, but that does not mean that the entire DNA is actually floating in the entire cell, right? So here what happens, there is a specialized region, a specific place where you are going to have the genetic material of the DNA, and that is of course the nucleoid that we have been talking about. And here the DNA is present as a large loops, and these large loops are organized, are held by the proteins. And remember, these proteins are again going to be positively charged. So DNA is negatively charged, and the DNA is going to associate themselves with positively charged non-histone basic protein, right? These are positively charged basic protein, and in this case, in a prokaryotic cell, these are going to be non-histone. Again, you might be knowing about histone. You were last time we had talked about. So anyway, coming back to the eukaryotic cells, right? So in eukaryotes or eukaryotic cell, the organization and packaging of the DNA is much more complex. And one of that which we are going to represent here, the structure is going to be the nucleosome. Okay, so what is a nucleosome, that we'll talk, but what you have to understand here is based on, for example, here the DNA, right? Okay, before going into that, what you have to keep in mind is there was a scientist called Korenberg. Okay, now why is he important? Because Korenberg actually told, or he discovered, that the chromosome is made up of two components, and these two components turn out to be DNA and protein. This is what I actually forgot to tell you, right? DNA and protein. And the protein here in this case, in case of, right, in case of eukaryotic cell, is typically histone along with NHC protein. So what is NHC? NHC stand for,
Non-histone protein.
yes, very good, non-histone chromosomal proteins. Where are they important? We will come back to that. So as I said, if the DNA, sorry, if the protein is rich in these two amino acids, right? These two are what? Amino acids. So if a protein is rich in these two amino acids, so this basic protein right? It is going to be positively charged, right? So these histones are going to be basic protein. Histones are basic proteins, and these basic proteins are rich in these two amino acids, especially lysine and arginine. You can write down, for example, lysine is, for example, short form if you want to write, LYS is lysine, ARG is arginine. So you can write that also. So they are going to be rich in these two amino acids, and that will give us a overall positive charge. And we already know that DNA is negatively charged, so they can wrap around each other and they form a structure, right? These DNA and proteins, that is nucleosome, is nothing but it's a combination, or it's a structure where the DNA gets wrapped around the protein, right? A positively charged protein. So nucleosome is nothing but DNA plus histone protein. It is not any other protein, but histone protein. This keep in mind. Nucleosome is a very important structure that you have to keep in mind. And let's learn about the structure, right? I've already done it. So what you see here, the center part, which I have marked in the blue color, this area, right? So this area is the histone octamer. Okay, these are called histone octamer. Now, obviously, as the name suggests, octamer means they are consisting of 8 components, 8 different components. So what are those 8 different components? Right, I'm going to remove, okay, let me write down here. So we are going to have uh, H2A, we are going to have H2B, we are going to have H3, and we are going to have H4. Now, what are these? These are, right, all of these are the different histone molecules, right? So these are all histone, right? Different types of histone. So there are a total of 4 different types of histone, and these 4 different types of histones are actually present twice. So into 2, right? So we are going to have 2 of H2A, 2 of H2B, 2 of H3, 2 of H4. So that will give me how many? Total 8. So that's why the histone octamer. So we are going to have a histone core, right? In the nucleosome structure, we are going to have a histone core, and this histone core is made up of 8 molecules of the histone elements or histone proteins. Now, what you see, this black one is going to be the DNA, right? So the DNA is actually wrapped around the histone octamer. Now, here when we talk about the entire structure, entire nucleosome, there are approximately 200 base pair of the DNA that is actually associated with this nucleosome structure. So in one nucleosome structure, we are going to have around 200 base pairs. So you can imagine, you can calculate, right? If you multiply this into this to 0.34 nanometers, you'll get the length of the DNA that is associated with a single nucleosome. Now, what do you have here? Now, this particular structure is called H1 histone, right? So you see here H2 is there, H3 is there, H4 is there, but we don't have H1. So here, this particular structure, right? This one is the H1 histone, right? So we are going to have, this is also known as the linker histone, right? Or the spacer histone. But again, you can use any word, but we'll go with the H1 histone. And this particular DNA here, right? The DNA that is in between, that is not part of, is the DNA that is not part of, that is not wrapped around the nucleosome, that DNA, right? It is called the spacer DNA, right? It is the spacer DNA. So because it is present in between, spacer histone, spacer DNA, H1 histone, or the linker DNA, right? Sometimes we also call it as the linker DNA or the spacer DNA. So both are the same thing. So as I said, we are going to have the histones wrapped around, or basically the DNA wrapped around the histone to give rise to the structure called nucleosome. So now the obvious question, did you understand till now, dear students?
Yes, sir.
All are clear
Yes,
over there?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you
Yes,
all.
sir.
Thank you all. Fine then.
Yes,
So
sir.
right now the obvious question is, how does these, all of these that we're talking about, nucleosome and blah blah blah, right? How does these connect, or how is it related to the chromosome structure that we know? Right? We are all aware that the DNA is actually associated with the protein, but inside the nucleus we have in the form of chromatin, or chromatin fiber we can call it, or chromosome we can call it, depending on the stage of the cell division. Right? When the cell is going to undergo cell division, it is going to form the what structure? Chromosome. The chromatin, thin thread like structure we call it. It is still much smaller than that. So we know what is the diameter of DNA, dear students? Diameter of DNA is how much?
2.4
2. Very
nanometer.
good. 2 what? Meter, centimeter,
Two,
Point.
nanometers, millimeters.
2 nanometer.
Very
Nanometer.
good. 2 nanometers.
Nanometers.
That unit is important. Right. So here the nucleosome, right? So nucleosome has an approximate nucleosome has an approximate diameter of around 10 to 11 nanometers. Okay, so you are going to have a 10 to 11 nanometers. But when we talk about the chromatid, right? I hope you all know about chromatid. Do you know or not?
Yes, sir.
Chromatid, you know?
Yes, sir.
For
Sister
example,
chromatids,
yes,
Yes,
non-sister
sir.
chromatids.
very good. So if you are going to have, right, a chromosome like this, the half, this side is one chromatid, this side is one chromatid, sister chromatid, non-sister chromatid, whatever you are speaking. So anyway, so here if we talk about the chromatid, right, so for the chromatid it is going to be around 700 nanometers. Remember this, it is going to be around 700 nanometers. So the DNA is hardly 2 nanometers, but when we are associating that with a protein and forming the structure called nucleosome, we are having somewhere around 10 to 11 nanometers. Now, from this 10 to 11 nanometers, how does it go to this 700 nanometer structure? Right? And how it is associated with the chromatin and the chromosome? Any idea? Anybody can tell? We know that is supercoiling, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, one more question I'll ask. So if I'm going to have this structure wrapped around the DNA, right? Where are the genes present? Can you tell me how the genes are present here? Very simple. Try to think. Where will the genes be present? Any idea? Anybody? Yes or no? Just if not, if you do not know, tell no. No problem. I will explain that.
Don't know,
Did
sir.
not understand your
Don't
question.
know,
Okay,
sir.
did not understand my question. So what I'm asking is, I'm talking about DNA and I'm talking about DNA association with the nucleosome, and I'm talking about chromosome chromatid. So do you think the gene that we have learned earlier is present somewhere here, or it is not related to this? Can it be here or
Inside nucleus.
yes,
This
exactly.
DNA only forms the chromosome after more with more histone proteins, and it continues to
Okay,
form the
so what
chromosome.
you're saying is basically they will undergo even more further coiling and they will give rise to that. Anyway, so what I was asking is, the DNA is wrapped around. So when we talk about a gene is a part of DNA, a functional part of DNA that is going to give rise to a protein. So when we require a particular part of the gene to be or a particular part of the chromosome to be expressed as gene, so these part there is kind of some kind of shuffling will take place, and that will allow the DNA where the gene is present to basically come out to for some time. And anyway, we'll talk about that when we talk about euchromatin and heterochromatin. So anyway, from here let us move on to the next part, how nucleosome is going to be connected to the high level of folding. So let me just remove this one for a minute and then we'll continue. Okay. So once we have the structure here, right, we said it is around 10 to 11 nanometers. So the nucleosome, they are going to undergo further coiling, right? So when they undergo coiling, they form a structure, and that structure is referred to as the solenoid structure, right? The solenoid structure. I'm going to show you an image. Do not worry about that. There is a PPT I have in that. I'm going to show you that. So the solenoid structure is around 300 nanometers, and this solenoid structure undergoes further compaction or coiling, I can say, or the super coiling we call it, and then finally it gives rise to the chromatin fibers, and the chromatin fibers then give rise to the chromatids, and here it is going to reach around 700 nanometers of thickness or the diameter. Now, when we say that nucleosome is actually the base structure that is going to help in formation of the chromatids, and that chromatids or the chromosomes that we know about. So a very simple structure like the protein gets associated with the DNA, and it is going to help in the supercoiling and super compaction of this 2.2 meters of the DNA into the nucleus, which is around having a diameter of 10 to the power minus 6 meters. Clear? So here we have to understand another thing. Okay, at this point I'm going to share you the PowerPoint presentation. Just a minute. Okay, I think, oh, 1 second. Pen drive. Just a second, I'm just opening the file. Can you see the screen, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So here we have a structure, and this structure already we have seen. This is the histone octamer along with the H1 histone that is going to give rise to the structure that is going to be called the nucleosome, right? And you can see a better image, right? What you see here on the left, what you see octamer histone. As I said, there is going to be H2, right? H2, H2B, all these things, and on the right side you are going to have the H1 histone and the DNA. And this particular structure, 1 second, this particular structure here is basically the computer generated model from top. If you see the entire structure from top, you can see all around here, all of these structures, right? These are the DNA molecule that is actually wrapping the protein on the center, right? Here what you see here, this is the protein, and around the protein you have the DNA. Very simple. The DNA gets wrapped around the protein. It is a top view on the computer generated model. Now here you can see the different type of the nucleosomes, the histone proteins that are actually associated, and you can also see the linker DNA or the spacer DNA that we are going to have. And you can see the diameter turns out to be around 10 nanometers for the structure. Now, as I said, when the nucleosomes are there, the nucleosomes undergoes further compaction, right? It undergoes further coiling or super coiling, and it is going to form the nucleosome, and from the nucleosomes it is going to undergo the further structure that is solenoid, and then the chromatin fiber and chromatids. And now this particular image is going to give you a very clear idea on what I am trying to explain you. So you can see here, right? So what you are going to have is the DNA with a 2 nanometers diameter, and we know that it is going to associate with a histone, and you can see you're going to form the structure called nucleosomes, that is around 11 nanometers structure. And you can see that from here it is going to undergo further coiling, and here you're going to have this solenoid structure, because these histone molecules, right? Not histone, sorry, the nucleosomes undergo further coiling into a circular structure here, like a solenoid, and that's why the name solenoid structure that is having. Oh, I think I made a mistake. This is a 30 nanometers diameter, not 300. As I said earlier, it is 30 diameter, 30 nanometers, and the chromatin fiber that is formed upon further coiling, that is going to be 300 nanometers diameter. And as we go from there, further coiling, it is going to form the chromatid, and chromatid is going to have 700 nanometers diameter. And from there, when we talk about the entire chromosome, there you're going to have a diameter of around 1400 nanometers, because typically we are going to have two chromatids in a single chromosome, sister chromatids. So 1400 nanometer structure. So you have a clear idea on how the DNA is made up of nitrogen base or nucleotides, how the nucleotides is now associated or related with the chromosome or chromatid. Many students have the doubts is the fact that DNA is different, the gene is somewhere present somewhere else, and they don't have a clear idea on how the chromatid, chromosome and the DNA is actually associated. Now this diagram should clear that doubt. I hope you are clear with the students.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So from here we will talk about a very important concept now. I think somebody is putting Biswaranjan, are you not able to hear me now? Can you hear now, Biswaranjan?
Yes, sir.
Biswaranjan, actually, if he is online. Anyways, so as I said, we are going to move on to a next concept, that is on euchromatin and heterochromatin. What to see the time also? How much time do you have?
15 minutes.
15 minutes. Yes. Okay. Fine. Okay. Before going into that, I have to tell you something regarding the NHC protein. Right. So as we had said that the proteins are required for packaging, and at lower levels, that is at the nucleosome level, the histone protein is more than enough. But at high level of packaging, for example, when we are going from solenoid to the chromatin fiber and from there to the next level of compaction, we need certain additional proteins help. And these certain additional proteins are nothing but the NHC protein, that stand for non-histone chromosomal protein. Right. Now you might ask, sir, why are they important? Now this NHC protein, they help in packaging at higher levels. Right. So when we talk about higher levels of packaging or compaction, it is the NHC protein that is going to help in the process of compaction. So for the entire DNA to get compact and to get fit into the nucleus, we require the NHC protein as well as the histone protein. So never have the confusion that it is only the histone that is helping in compaction or packaging. It is both the histone protein as well as the NHC protein that is helping in the entire process. Okay. So let us move.
Sir,
Yes.
Sir, higher levels and lower levels refers.
Okay, very simple. When I'm talking about higher level, what I'm saying is, as you saw in the image, what did I show you? We had the DNA. Now the DNA actually form the structure what is that? Nucleosomes, and from there we went to the solenoid. From solenoid to the chromatin fibers. From chromatin fiber to the chromatid. From chromatid to the chromosomes. That is the sequence we talked about in the image. So in lower levels, what I'm talking about is very simple. DNA, the first level of compaction. Right, DNA gets wrapped around a protein, that is histone, and forms the nucleosome. But nucleosome again gets further, you have seen it gets compacted again and again, solenoid, and then the chromatin fibers. So at this level, for it to get compact, right, even further compaction, further smaller and smaller, at that time the additional proteins are required. And this at this level, right, beyond the solenoid level, we are calling that as a higher level. Beyond the level of a nucleosome, the compaction, we are using the NHC protein, and that is what we are calling it as a high level of compaction.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Welcome. Yes, sir.
sir,
Yes, sir.
what are this NHC made up of?
1 second. So as the name suggests, NHC also are going to be proteins. So of course they are going to be made up of amino acids. But here the composition is not going to be just like the histone protein. They're going to be slightly different. And frankly, I do not know the actual chemical structures or chemical composition of these NHC proteins. But again, the R group is going to be replaced with something that is going to help in. Again, they are also going to be positively charged, obviously. Otherwise, they will not be able to help in putting the DNA together. So they are going to be positively charged, but again, I'm not sure about the chemical composition of the NHC protein. They will be made up of proteins, and of course, because they're protein, they'll be made up of amino acids. I will just try to find out. Pooja, I will try to find out, and I'll try to post it if I get any information on the chemical composition of the NHC protein. Okay, that's a good question. I've never thought of that.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome, welcome. So now coming to the first one, that is going to be euchromatin. Right. So here these euchromatins are loosely packed. Okay, so here region of chromatin that are loosely packed, and here it is actually densely packed. Now how do we know this? When we use a chromosome specific stain or DNA specific stain like the Fulgen stain, Fulgen. Okay, Fulgen stain is a chromosome specific stain. So what do you mean by chromosome specific stain? It is going to, okay, we have 10 more minutes, quickly we'll close it. So it is going to stain only the chromosome and nothing else. So when we are going to use a Fulgen stain, in both of this case, here also when you're going to use a Fulgen stain, right? Because these are loosely packed, the entire chromatin here is loosely packed. Here you'll get a light stain, and here you'll get a dark stain. Okay, so on the first one, that is in case of euchromatin, the stain is going to be light, whereas in case of heterochromatin, the stain is going to be dark. And as you're going to have this particular light stain, what happens is here the genes are going to be active, while here the genes here are inactive. This one you have to keep in mind the differences here, right? So one you're going to have euchromatins are going to be here because genes are active. So transcriptionally, transcription, you remember, transcriptionally active region of the DNA. Transcriptionally active region of the DNA is called your euchromatin, right? These are loosely packed region of the chromatin, and they're going to be lightly stained, whereas heterochromatin, they are going to be consisting of densely packed chromatin. That's why that they're going to give a dark stain, and the genes here are going to be inactive. So this is regarding the euchromatin and heterochromatin, dear students. And with that, we are going to end the theory for today's class. And in the next class, that is, we are going to have it, I think, on Saturday, I guess. We don't have a class tomorrow, I guess. So on Saturday's class, we're going to start with the search, right? How people came to know about the DNA being the genetic material. There were a few experiments, interesting ones, right? For example, Griffith's transforming principle and the biochemical nature we're going to talk about. Yes, Satabda, your question. Behra, your question.
No question, sir.
You have raised your hand, that's why. Anyways, so if you have any question on what I have taught you today, please ask your question. If you're having a bad internet, you can use the chat feature also. I'm actually looking at that also.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any doubts on the questions on the concept today I have taught? So packaging of DNA is very important concept. Try to understand that. And euchromatin and heterochromatin, Euchromatin, it is going to help in transcription. They are going to be active in transcription, whereas heterochromatin won't be active in transcription. Clear? So next class, be ready for the next concept, that is on transforming principles. Okay, are you making the notes?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Oh,
fine.
yes, sir.
Yes. Okay then. Today I will not give you any questions. Next class I will give you few questions that is based on these concepts and that are from the previous year questions. And what I gave you yesterday, that question on this numerical based question, those all were from last year. Those two were from last year's questions, or the previous year questions. So tomorrow also, or day after tomorrow also, when I'll be giving you few previous year questions, and I expect you to write that in your homework notes for your own benefit. So with that, I think if you are not having any doubts, we can close the session today. Manikanta, I want to see today's class again. Can you give me, please? Okay, it's getting recorded, so again I know it will be converted, it will be uploaded. So may not be today, but maybe tomorrow I can give the video if you want. Manikanta, okay? It will be around 200-300 MB, so I have to upload and send you. So I will do that. Okay. Anybody else, if you have lost it, I can send it. Anything else? Or should we close the session?
No, sir.
Okay. Fine then.
Yes, sir.
How many students we are
Yes,
going to
sir.
have? Let me have a look at that. Okay, just we are having 34, 35, I think that is the number of students today. Where are the remaining students? Are they unaware, or are they not? They are not in the group only. Many, I think, have been removed from some group, but biology group nobody has been removed. So all should join ideally. Anyways, it is up to them. If they do not want to join, that is their choice. So thank you all. Have a nice day. Enjoy the day tomorrow and today. We meet on Saturday again. Thank you all for joining today. I'm going to close the session now. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Notes again. Notes try to make it. Okay.
Thank
Fine.
you, sir.
Welcome.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.